everyone. So being that school has started or starting, I want to talk about my IEP and 504 plan as a blind individual with learning disabilities who is a print reader in the public school district. This video is going to focus on my IEP from K through 12th grade, and in another video, I'm going to do my 504 plan accommodations. Oh boy, where do I start from here? This feels like a really long time ago. So I have always had large print throughout my entire schooling, but back in elementary school and middle school, I feel like this accommodation was a little bit different and interesting. I'm guessing teachers were doing this on a copier machine maybe back then. Maybe they still do it now. I have no idea how they do it now. Some teachers were better at this than others because I remember getting paper that was literally the size of me to where it took up my whole entire desk, but the print be so small. So I had to manage. The ones who were able to enlarge better, it would come out sideways, which was not a problem, but then things would be cut off. So of course I had to talk to the teacher like, hey, what do you want me to do here? I do think things are a little bit better now, especially with Word, to where you can select the size font that you want when it comes to this accommodation, of course, depending on what you're actually doing in the classroom. Those of you might have experiences getting those large print textbooks. My opinion, they were ridiculous because literally you would get, for like one chapter, you would have 5 books. These books were so big that they couldn't even fit on a regular desk to where I had to sit at a table. Now, I did have a regular copy of the textbook for at home. Might be vice versa, but I'm pretty sure the large print textbooks were for in the classroom because I was able to keep those books in the classroom, thankfully, so I didn't have to carry them around. But I haven't always had this accommodation for some reason. I guess things just have changed to where I went to the regular print textbook and where I was just using a magnifier. But I must have had 2 books because I was able to keep my textbooks in the classroom so I didn't have to carry them or navigate with them. I guess safety in the hallways? I have no idea. But how are those large print textbooks these days? Are they still like really crazy, insane, big with multiple volumes and everything? I have no idea. Audiobooks. I don't think I had audiobooks that I can remember in school. Maybe in high school, but if I did, they would have been on CD player. I did have them later in life, the audiobooks. I did have preferential seating, which that meant for me sitting right up front and center. Yay! There is a girl on here talking about her preferential seating, which she thinks that she could sit anywhere in the classroom. That's not necessarily true. That depends on your IEP and 504 plan and the teacher and what they feel is best for your education needs. But for me, that was right up front and center. Notes. So I got a copy of notes in class, but this also depended on teacher because some teachers would, for some reason, give me the fill-in-the-blank notes, which, fun. I did not like those because they'd be on the projector and they'd be writing in marker. Sometimes they were just so fast. Sometimes by the time I actually saw it and was able to copy it down, they would already erase it. So I'd always hope that they kept the sheet like filled out for the end of the class. For like anyone who missed anything, they can go and look. With the board itself, I would hope that the teacher just didn't erase it. So where like after class, I can just write down whatever and go up closer to the board. Sometimes I relied on other classmates to help me out, or sometimes I would have to go to the teacher and be like, hey, I missed this. Can you please help me out here? But there was a reason why I got notes because I literally couldn't see to where if I did see it, and by the time I actually comprehended things to actually writing it down, I was already behind to where if I got the actual copies of notes that I was able to pay attention more in class. And I can write down whatever extra notes if I felt like. Testing. So regular testing in class, of course I had the large print. I sometimes might have gotten a verbal exam, extended time, and an alternating testing location. Sometimes I took that, sometimes I didn't. Of course, just depended on me. Standardized testing. With the Scantron, I did not have to do the Scantron, thankfully, because I could not track, or I cannot track a Scantron. So I don't think anyone was allowed to write on those tests. So I had a separate piece of paper where I wrote down my answers, and then the teacher would fill in the Scantron for me. And honestly, I don't remember if those tests were actually in large print. Good question. Another accommodation, definitely in high school, possibly middle school, because with the changing of classes, I was able to leave class a few minutes early before the bell, so I wouldn't get run over. It was easier for me to navigate from class to class by doing that. I think that's it for like what I can remember for my actual accommodations. I was in resource room, which I want to do a video on that in itself. From the Commission for the Blind and Technology, I don't really remember, but I do want to do a video on my technology. But for my older individuals, if you did go to a public school, like what was your experience in the public school like with your accommodations at all? I do feel like things are now better for the blind community when it comes to education and just accessibility, in my opinion, because now since COVID, with everything being on Chromebooks to where literally you can put on a software such as JAWS or Zoom text, it's just easier, in my opinion, I'm guessing. At least I think it would be easier to make some more accommodations and easier for a student to learn. Because for my older individuals and for myself, you know, like back in the day with computers, like having the big boxy computers or not having a computer at all, or by the time like laptops actually like kind of came out, like I don't even know if I would have been able to have a laptop in class. But I do think things have changed and I think are better for like the blind community now in school and for future blind individuals, just with everything advancing in education. I think, especially in the public school district, I do think things are going to be a little bit better. But for those who have an IEP or a 504 plan, please do not feel ashamed for it because it's something that's in place to help you succeed in your education. That's it for this video. I do have more content on school just in general and just more videos coming up about it. So please stay tuned. All right. Bye, everyone.